I literally just recorded this whole video only to turn around the camera and realize nothing was recording. There was nothing there. So let's do this, round 2. The foods in Slovenia that I love and hate the most. So I'm gonna start from the bottom and go up to my most favorite and my most hated. So starting at the bottom, number 3 food I hate the most here is morsko sadje. Now this is translated to fruit of the sea, or sea fruit, and it's basically all the nasty bits of seafood you never want to eat put together, cold, mashed up with some kind of sauce on it. Oh, it's like mussels and oysters and clam and bits of squid and calamari and oh, so disgusting. No, I don't want to eat that. It's like all the remnants of what people have been using to make good food, and they just put it together and mash it up. Like, throw it away. On my favorite side, my number 3 favorite is jablončni zavitek. This is kind of like an apple strudel, I guess. It's just the Slovenian version of it, and I really like it. It's really delicious. I actually like that it's not so sweet as like an apple pie strudel, something like this in America. You can still taste the apples in it. It's not just tons of sugar. Number 2. Now, here's where it gets passionate. This could very well be my most hated food in Slovenia, but it's going to be confusing at first, so hang tight while I explain. Cake. I hate your cake here so much. Specifically cake that is made for large groups of people. I don't know why it's so bad here. I think it's something like sheet cake in America, but it's not even sweet. It doesn't taste good. If I'm gonna have cake, it has to be sweet, has to taste good. Let me explain, I'll break it down, why I hate this cake so much. It comes about this big, right? And it's usually like cake, a filling, cake, frosting. Pretty standard. There's chocolate, and then the other one is usually a fruit, which is like strawberries or raspberries. That's kind of like the fruit ones, or those are the typical ones. Usually like a yellow cake, kind of. And then the filling is like a cream filling with pieces of fruit, or if it's a chocolate, it's like so diluted cream chocolate it doesn't taste like chocolate. And it's not even sweet. Like the filling is always this waxy texture that's just disgusting. And the cake is not sweet either. The cake is not supposed to be as sweet, but the frosting is a little more sweet, so they balance each other well, and this is delicious. Here, nothing is very sweet. It's just watered down tasting, and the ultimate offense that I hate the most is that on the bottom of the cake, for whatever reason, the bottom centimeter is soggy. It's always like it's wet, like it's just been sitting in a pan of water. Why? I don't understand this. Like, who is making these cakes? Who is doing such a thing? And it really seems like everybody wants to add rum to their cakes, like rum flavoring. Why? It's so unnecessary. Rum is reserved for desserts like tiramisu, not cake, and not every freaking cake out there. If I'm on an event and there are cakes like this, I always prefer the fruit one. Now, I would never choose fruit over chocolate, but the chocolate cakes are so disappointing that I get even angrier, so I choose the fruit so I don't have to deal with the bitter disappointment of the chocolate. It's terrible. It's so bad. I think the reason I hate it so much is because it just angers me, because it just doesn't make sense. And what doesn't make sense the most is that there are places here that make phenomenal cakes. They're usually like the little coffee houses. Cacao makes great cakes. Zvezda, is that the place? They make great cakes, so why can't everyone else make good cakes? Like, you obviously know that they exist. Number 2 of things I love. Segedin. Segedin is this amazing soup that's made here that is so good. It's made from sauerkraut and ham with some potatoes, some beans in there, and it's just like, it's kind of sour-ish, but it's delicious. It feels so good on a really cold winter day. It's full of vitamins and minerals because sauerkraut is really great for you. And it just tastes so good. I love it so much. It's delicious. It feels great after a long hike. We went on a hike. Where did we go? Blegos. We went to Blegos. We got up to the top. We went and sat down and we had lunch and they had segadin and it was so good. I actually like segadin more than jota. Jota is made from radish. No, turnips. I think turnips is repa. I don't know the English word for that. And so I like segadin so much. I have tried to make it on several occasions. However, Luca doesn't like eating ham. So to make it without ham, it doesn't taste the same. And of course, because I'm obviously not Slovenian, so I don't really know what I'm doing. It's not going to taste as good as somebody who uses all the fat and all the ingredients that they normally do. It is so good. I love that soup so much. All right. Number one most hated food here, which could have tied for the cake as well. Zaseka. Zaseka is this nasty lard with chunks of lard that people just put on their bread and eat it. Okay, if you're American, imagine this. You bake bacon in the oven and all of the grease that's left over in the tray, you pour it into a cup. You let that cool. A lot of people do this because they don't want to pour it down the drain. Imagine then spreading that fat and grease on bread like cream cheese and eating it. Like, I'll never forget the first time I saw Zaseka somewhere. I asked Luca, what is that? And he explains it. And I saw the person before me really like spread it on thick. And I put it on bread and I tasted it. Just so, it's so bad. It's so disgusting. It's not flavored, it's not salted, it's not seasoned. There's nothing in it. It's just straight fat lard. Like, ew. Now, I understand farmers who do tons of manual labor all day absolutely need to have something like that because that is the only way they're going to get physical strength for the duration of their work. In other words, they need fat to give them super high concentration of calories so that they can go out and do all that manual labor, which burns tons of calories, right? They need that. But y'all don't need that anymore. Not many of you are still doing that amount of work, and I have news for you. That is really bad for you. I know it's domaca and everything, but it's still, that is like so not good for your arteries. And I just don't understand why. It's so flavorless. It's just disgusting. It's just flavorless, gross, fat. Since the first time I tried it, I've been surprised by it 2 or 3 other times, and it's always like, oh, no, not again. Ah. And my number one favorite Slovenian food is štrukli. Štrukli, and specifically sirni. Sirni. It's like a cheese štrukli, and it's basically like a really thin pastry that you spread a sauce inside that's like cheese, but it's kind of like a cream cheese, cottage cheese. You roll it up and roll it up in a towel, and then you boil it in water. I've made it a few times, and it's just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it so much. There are sweet štrukli as well. The walnut ones are pretty good, but I always prefer the cheese one. It's just my absolute favorite. They do this thing where they fry breadcrumbs and put that on top of the štrukli. I honestly prefer it without that because I don't, like, again, it's not seasoned. It's just kind of adding like grease to the top of my štrukli, and I just want the štrukli. I love štrukli so much. I love it so much. They're so delicious. I get so excited every time I see it. Whenever we go to a wedding or some event and there's like the platter of food and there's 4 štrukli on the end, I'm like, yes! Štrukli, my favorite. There you have it, my top loved and hated food that I've had here in Slovenia. There are probably some that I have forgotten. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, beef soup. Beef soup is like one of my ultimate favorite foods here. It's so delicious. Very simple. very delicious. So don't judge me too harshly if you think of something that's ultimately better or worse than what I said. And I definitely have not tried all the disgusting foods here. I'm willing to try them, but I'm not willing to order them for one bite to say, yeah, that's disgusting. If you have suggestions, comment them below. I'd love to hear them. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it. If you liked me, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.